And we're live. Hi, everybody. We are back for another episode of Bead Talk. I'm so grateful that you could all join us. Thank you for being here. One sec. Let me just shout out to the master man of the house, checking out and taking care of us. Honey, we're live. Can you share me out? Yeah. We got to do that. Super happy today. We have an amazing guest today. Her name is Ryman. Honey, can you tag Bernie? I just want to make sure she's here. And Bernie, if you're in the comments, go ahead and comment so I know you're here. Mary Lee's here. Thank you for joining us. Whew. So, let me just get on with the show. If you haven't been here the past 2 weeks, we just want to put out the invitation for you to join us at Bead Talk. Bead Talk is where you're going to find your favorite artists, your favorite creators, your favorite suppliers. We're going to be sharing with you all manner of different amazing folks these next few weeks. I'm going to take this as long as I can. If I have someone scheduled, I'm absolutely going to do a bead talk. If I don't, I may just come on and chat, or we'll just have, I'll get Angela here and we'll have a chat. That'll be a lot of fun. Our guest today is from Australia. Well, she lives in Australia, and she has a wonderful story, and I'm just so happy that she can join us. Let me just see. Are you here, Bernie, honey? I am just... Sweetheart, can you go ahead and send her the link?
Yeah, I'm not sure which friends.
Bernie Ryman. So what happened is that because of where she lives, it's a very special place. We did a pre-run of the show because we weren't sure how connection would be. So it was around this time yesterday that we did the show, and it was great. It worked out. She's here. She's here with, well, I just go ahead and request, Bernie. At the bottom, darling, there's going to be a little request. And let me just get you here, and we'll just start the show. Let me see. I do have one request. Is that you, Bernie? It is. Okay, let's go. See if we can get her on here. Facebook's going to add her. Just a quick second. It worked. Hey, welcome to Bead Talk, darling. I hope you've, I know it's a scorcher. I know it's the middle of the day.
Very hot here. Extremely hot.
So for some of our folks who don't know you, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself?
Okay, yep.
Thinking of the dogs.
They're passed out in the heat. Okay, so hi everybody. I'm Bernie Ryman. I live on an island called Canapa, which is our Indigenous name for Russell Island. I'm living. It's in a place called the Southern Moreton Bay Islands, or the Moreton Bay Marine something. Anyway, so I live on an island, within an island, I suppose, within an island continent. It's very quiet, and I live in a very quiet bush setting, and we have a lot of wildlife, snakes, kookaburras, curlews, lizards, goannas, wallabies, all that sort of stuff. And our summers are extremely hot, as we're not even in summer, we're in autumn now, and we're still suffering from this extreme heat and humidity. So anyway,
That's weird weather everywhere. We even had for here, we're hearing about folks who are getting snowstorms who should be having spring conditions and planting their bulbs.
I know,
But they,
I've been seeing that too, and I can't even believe that you guys are, well, not you guys, but some other people are still, getting these snowstorms. Like, wow.
it's
Mm.
lots of rain. I mean, not that we didn't need it, when it's so terribly hot, you're so thankful for all the water. But I cannot imagine it being autumn and being as hot as you have it. You were saying yesterday it was about 100?
Yeah, easily. Yeah, and we're sort of creeping up now because it's only it's only 11:30 here, so we got that timing wrong. But anyway, lucky I came on. I know.
Right. We even did a pre-run just to make sure we got it right.
I don't know what it is. I mean,
the important thing is we got here, and I am just so excited to sit here and do this Bead Talk with you. Well, I would just want to share real quick a little bit. I met Bernie, or I became aware of Bernie in the Facebook threads, and instantly fell in love with this woman. And she didn't even know she had someone loving her from over here in the States. And then I quietly stalked her, and then I messaged her, and she shares her adventures, and her partner who lives near her, Jill Wiseman, of their adventures of where they live there. And oh, it is delicious. I'm not saying it's always easy. I'm not saying it's always fun, but it is the most inspiring thing. They make me feel like I can do anything. You really do, Bernie.
oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. It's a pretty tough life at the moment, but we bounce off each other. We help each other a lot, Jill and I. And
alarm.
Hello. there's a what you call a slasher just around the corner because they're slashing the long grass because of the fire hazard. And so the guys are the fire brigade. It's called the rural fire brigade. They're like country. They're like the fire brigade.
I think
they're
here
the
we call them
volunteers.
volunteer firefighters.
That's it, volunteers. Yeah. They're just walking around checking out the undergrowth to just make sure that.
So important. They don't want any repeats of anything of the fires that were occurred.
Yeah, so we've got to be so careful about it. We can't have open fires. We can't have a barbecue if it's not contained inside a barbecue. So one of the things that we do a lot here is we get an old big tin, like the inside of a washing machine or something like that, and we use those as barbecues. But they're open, so we're not allowed to do anything like that at the moment. We're not allowed to burn off our rubbish in terms of the wood, and we keep a fire trail clear around our property, so we're not allowed to burn that off until probably midwinter or something like that. So
is it late for them to be so vigilant? Are they usually able to do your barbecues by now?
Sometimes yeah, usually depends. I think you and I spoke about this when we spoke the other day. We were just in a weather pattern called La Nina.
Oh, yes.
And that's and that happens down here, and what that brings is masses of rain. So you've seen Australia being flooded out the last few years, right? And then now we're transitioning into what we call El Nino, which is our drought section, our drought part of the next few years. And so El Nino kicked in really, violently, if you like, just over Christmas, and it's been hot and dry and horrid. We've had some rain, and there is a transition period, but now we're sitting in El Nino, and it's dry, it's hot, it's humid, and it's ready to spark if we're not careful. So over winter, it will dry out quite a bit because it's quite a mild winter here, and so towards the end of winter, I think they'll start burning off, just to ensure that we don't have, you know, major issues in summer like we did a few years ago when we had those catastrophic fires in Australia. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
I have the utter pleasure of being able to watch some of the wildlife. When Bernie and I spoke before doing our pre-run, there was some kookaburras out, and I didn't know that they were carnivores. And she had them eating out of her hand. She had a little bit of food for them, little meat, and it was so. I wish I could have recorded it. My kids would have loved it. It was so amazing.
I
So
do
you got
have
a lot going on there right now.
Yeah, we do. There's always something going on here. The kookaburras. I do have a video of me feeding the kookaburras on my page, so
Yeah.
I can send you that if you like later.
Oh no, that would be great because then I can include that when I post YouTube, and then they can go and see what we're talking about. If any of you have a moment, go on over to Bernie's Facebook, friend her, and check out the wonderful, amazing adventures. The pictures are breathtaking, breathtaking. So we want to delve into your beach journey. I
Okay.
know we didn't speak much about that, so it's just going to be asking you a little bit about your past, present, and future of your beach journey. So if you could just give us just a little tea of how you began, because I'm not telling everyone everything you do, but I want you to share with us.
Sure. Go for it. Ask me anything.
So when you began, I know that when I first met you, you were doing enameling.
Yep.
Was that something you always were doing, or were you doing something before that when you started your bead journey? I mean, what inspired you? What drew you to the bead community?
Okay. So when this goes back to when I was in high school, and I'm 57 now, and so it goes all the way back to high school. My family were building a house when I went to high school, and so when it came time for me to choose subjects, my mum and dad were talking to me, and I said, oh, I didn't want to do sewing, I didn't want to do cooking, you know, I do that at home. Why do I have to choose those subjects just because I'm a girl?
Right.
And they said, well, why don't we talk to the principal and ask the principal if you can get into one of the boys' classes and do like metalwork or woodwork or something like that. And
That's my girl.
Yeah, so they approved me to go into a class with the boys, and the class was called Industrial Arts, and it was a combination of metal and woodwork and various other bits and pieces. And the teacher didn't know what to do with me because I was a girl, and I said, well, you know, I've been helping my dad build this house, so I'm 15 years old, come on, we can do this.
That's it. Use your imagination, right?
Exactly. And so one day they decided to make a Mother's Day gift, and they said, you've got these choices of what you can do. You know, you can use perspex, you can use wood, you can use metal, you can do some enameling. And I went, oh, enameling. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to give that a crack. And so he taught me how to enamel, this teacher, and I continued that journey for a few years until I graduated year 12. And I was supposed to go to uni, but I went off overseas for a few years and traipsed around in Europe and played around and stuff like that, and had a great time. And I came back and I thought, I don't want to go back to studying. I want to start my journey, you know. But my parents talked me into going back to university for a little while. And I studied geology and mineralogy and all that sort of stuff, and all the crystals and stones, and you know.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. You see how you are being built, and this is the part of it that I absolutely love learning about, because it's just, you see the foundation and you see where you're coming from, and I don't know. I like the full picture, and you're giving it to us. Let me just be quiet. I'm sorry. Go on.
You're right. Just ask questions anytime I'm talking. Just ask. So,
I will.
I'm just going to get a drink because, my gosh, it's hot out here.
Yes, that's why I couldn't forget not to get me some water because I got a little, I get a little, you know,
Got my wild witchy head.
54-year-old dryness.
Oh, it's just really hot. I've got the fan going, and you know the sun beating down out here. It's so hot, but it's okay. It's bearable. It's good. Where was I?
You were talking about you decided you went back to uni because your parents told you, and you went and did some geology or
yeah,
finished.
mineralogy and everything like that. And I decided halfway through it, when I knew all the crystals, that I didn't want to go any further. I just wasn't into any more learning. I'm just fed up with, you know, being in school. I wanted to start my life.
Yeah.
And I had accumulated some enameling goods. Back then it was different. It was, you know, leaded enamel. There wasn't all the tools that you can have now, and it was a bit rough, but you know, it was okay. It was fun. So I was doing that a little bit, and then I had a really serious accident. I went up to the snow. We believe it or not, we have snow here. It's down down south it's sort of near the border of New South Wales and Victoria, and it's called Kosciuszko. So anyway, I had an accident down there, which was very, very serious, and so I couldn't walk. You know, it was a very serious accident, so I wasn't able to walk for 2 years, and and during that time, when I was out of the hospital and I was sitting around and doing stuff, I was sort of honing my skills on the enameling a little bit, and then I started doing that for a while, and gosh, it was a while ago. I was selling it just through family and friends because, you know, I couldn't walk, I couldn't drive. I was having intense physiotherapy. I had to learn to walk again. Wow. And so, yeah, so I was just at home, you know, fiddling around with that sort of thing, and various other metal projects and stuff like that. And then, you know, fast forward, I got married. I went to live in Tasmania with my husband. We had a child, Dee, who, as you know, just had a preemie baby.
I want to get into that too. Because Miss Luna May, you guys, if you go to Bernie's profile, it just reads like a beautiful online journal, but it's just such an immersive experience. And if you go and you read, you'll see what I mean. I don't want to just break from your story, but you mentioned Miss Luna May, and I can't but say to you and your daughter, I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of her and the baby. Such a fighter. So tell us real quickly. So she had her daughter had a baby. She was a preemie. They went down to, I don't know where they went down. Tell me where they went down.
Right. So they live in a place called Coffs Harbour, which is about 7 hours drive south from me. And it's also about 7 hours from Sydney. So it's sort of in the middle between me and Sydney. And Coffs Harbour is a regional centre. And so they didn't have the facilities to be able to cope with how early the preemie baby, how early Luna May was. Luna May came at, I don't know, 3 months premature. I don't know what the weeks. Anyway,
wow.
3 months premature, so she was the size of, you know, half a shoebox basically. So they airlifted them through the Royal Flying Doctor Service, which is the country flying doctor service. They airlifted them down to Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney, which is actually a reality program. They do a reality program about that, but I mean that's another story. That's not part of our story. Is she going to
be an episode?
No, there was a you know how they do these reality shows about Bondi Rescue and all that sort of nonsense.
Yes.
It was one about the Royal North Shore, and I think there was 2 seasons or something. Anyway, so they're down there because that hospital is massive, you know, and it had all the equipment needed to look after Luna May, being so tiny. So they've spent the last 6 or 7 weeks down there, and it was just the other day that they got back home to Coffs Harbour Hospital. So Luna May is in the hospital still.
Okay.
And yeah, my daughter Dee, or Yolandi is her name. She gets to go home and come in, and she's got 4 other children and 2 stepchildren and a husband. Yeah, big family. She always said she was going to have a big family because she was an only child. So she always said she was going to have a big family. So yeah, she's well and truly done that.
Yeah. So now 7. She'll have 7.
Yeah, 7 children. Yep. So she's at home now. She goes back and forth to the hospital in Coffs Harbour, and Luna May's doing really well. So she was a fighter from the beginning. She just consistently beat the odds and just kept blowing the minds of all the doctors and the nurses by how well she was doing. And so technically she should still be down in Sydney, but she had grown and become so strong that they sent them back. She was such a feisty little warrior, you know.
Yes. She is a warrior. She really is. I love her little face. It's so serious. It's like, you know what? I came into this world fighting. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's keep doing it, you know.
So precious.
Yeah.
Well, I am so happy to hear that, especially since she can now go home, you know, because, you know, the other babies are missing her too. And now she can make sure that Luna May's getting everything she needs, and she'll be home in no time.
Yeah, exactly.
This will be a memory soon, but it's just been a amazing journey seeing that baby fight, and it's just, I just loved it. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, it has been a journey, and when she goes home, hopefully towards the end of April, May, I'll be trekking down there. I'll be going down because I'm a bit of a wanderlusting gypsy.
Yes, let us not forget. I am so sorry if I think I said that in the intro. That is right. So Bernie's business name is the Wanderlusting Gypsy, or Wanderlusting Gypsy Creationz. And it is so true to heart. This lady, in all of her wanderlusting journeys, has just been, it isn't just this year. I mean, this is how Bernie, I'm just going to tell on you. This is how Bernie writes her posts, shares with the world. They are, you are on the journey with her, and it's just, you just want to turn the book and see what the next page has. And you have done that for me anyway. I know everybody else who keeps up with it. It's just been such an honor and a joy to be able to share that with you and get to know you this way. So let me bring you back. I don't want to go too far off topic because you know me. I'll have you in the trees with the kookaburras. Tell me, so you were 2 years down, not able to walk, not able to move. Oh, that's so. And then during that time, your family was helping you sell the enamel products. What were you making?
I went home and I had to, you know, they had to look after me for a while and stuff like that. And so they brought my enameling stuff to me. They set me up in a wheelchair outside, and off I'd go, you know, do my thing, and I made various things. You know, I didn't do much with them at first, and then I started when I started learning to walk again. I started to get up and go to Dad's tool shed and you know, put holes in them and then enamel them and make little jewelry, and I was always doing. As a child, I was always, my mother would come to me all the time and say, can you fix this chain for me? You know, can you fix this ring for me? And I was always able to do it, you know. I was always able to solder the rings together. I was always able to fix the chains and everything like that. So I'd been doing it my whole life.
Wow, so that really was the introduction, was your home training, Just the Needs, really gave you that introduction and being able to use this, your fine motor skill to create these beautiful things. And that's,
yeah.
I mean, they didn't even know they were training you to do that, you know, that might be your future. That's
I just had to like doing it. So, and also my parents were building a house, and I was helping my father weld steel and stuff like that together. And I got all these skills, unbeknownst to me at the time. I got all these skills, these building skills, these metal skills. I went to school and I got these other skills, and I actually topped that class of 13 boys too, by the way, which that to this day,
nice.
To this day, when we have a reunion, for a school reunion, they still rib me about that. So that.
Excuse me.
Soft, there's a girl in the boys' class and she's not going to
be. Did they offer it to girls after that? Because getting top in the class, that should have told them something.
Well, they did, yeah. So they started allowing girls to join the boys' classes, but they also drawing and all that sort of stuff. So they started integrating and allowing different people to join, like the two between the girls and the boys, to choose what they wanted to really do, and budding chefs were allowed to go and be, chef boys and do their cooking and all that sort of stuff. So it was really an integral part of school history that they started allowing girls and boys to choose what they actually wanted to do and not what society dictated that they needed to do.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Really good.
Anytime we can contribute to that, right? Good exactly. On you, girl.
Yeah. Yeah, so they still rib me about that, and what are we all, 57, 58 now, so it was fun.
Oh, it got under their crawl. They absolutely never forgot. No, but I think that's absolutely brilliant. It's fabulous. Amazing. I just love that. So from there you gained all of these amazing skills, and that was your formative teaching. That was how you got to this place where you started creating. Did you start doing your little enameling on your components?
Okay, so we got married and stuff, and I was raising not only my daughter, but I was raising another little boy as well, Christopher, who had just been. He was a friend of a friend's little boy, baby actually, and he just had a rough life with his parents. So I raised him on and off throughout the years as well. So technically I sort of had 2 children. And anyway, life went on. We were, they were growing up, and I was being a mom, and I was doing, or a mum as we say, and I was doing, I was doing canteen duty, and then I started going to work part-time, and the kids grew up and they went off on their own. And then one day we moved into this house, right? And the agent had said that the woman that lived in the house had problems, and so she had left a lot of stuff, and I said, well, I can gather the stuff and we can we can deliver it to her if she's had a really bad trot. So anyway, what happened was in this stuff we found some beads. I spoke to the real estate, and the lady said, the woman that had lived there said she only wanted personal photos. I could have the beads and the bits and pieces. So we went, ooh.
Right, thank you.
But there was quite a few beads, and they were very basic beads, just simple, seed beads and bits and pieces that we probably wouldn't use them now, but it started this journey, and I was obsessed with it. I got right into it, and I started making jewelry, and I started selling it on eBay, and I became buying gemstones, and I started buying charms and clasps and leather and blah blah blah, everything that you need. And I got right into it for a few years, and basically I never stopped. And so the kids were I was maybe around 40 I think. I might have been around 40 at the time, and the kids so I never stopped, and it sort of built from there. And then when I moved I moved up from Sydney. I moved up to a place called Hervey Bay, which is near a place called Kagari, or in white man language, that's called that's Fraser Island, and so we lived up in Hervey Bay for many, many years, and I just continued from there. I got out. I didn't have all my enamelling stuff, you know, because that was many years before. But I went and bought enamelling stuff. I went and got everything I needed to do, and
you
even
already
then,
knew how to do that. Yeah.
even then, it was still very basic stuff. You know, when I started again, it was definitely a lot more available now than there was back then. But anyway, I got it all out. You know, I was doing the jewellery, I started the enamelling, I started doing the copper forging and everything like that. And I was going to markets and was selling it, and I stopped the eBay, I think, because I just thought I can't keep up with that and do what I was doing, doing markets and you know, selling from home and stuff like that. And it became big at the time.
Right,
and
right.
So I had to cut it back a little bit because it was never what I wanted to do. It interfered with me going on road trips.
Oh, I'm there right now. Yeah, I'm there. I understand that.
With my grandkids and stuff like that, because, you know, my daughter started having grandkids and Christopher started having kids all over the place, and it was just going crazy. So I decided to cut back a little bit and just concentrate on a little bit of jewellery, just to keep up the market. And I got right into the enamelling and forging. And from the enamelling and forging, I went on to learn things like electroplating and etching, copper and brass etching. And, you know, I was all self-taught with everything. So apart from that initial time in high school when the teacher taught me, it was all self-taught. So I just taught myself everything. And then I branched out, you know, I did all this metal work, and I thought, oh, you know, this is great, but I really want to expand my mind. I want to expand my knowledge and expand my mind. So I started learning macrame, and I started learning other things that I do, and I started playing with natural items,
Yes.
sticks and feathers and pine cones and things like that, and then it sort of evolved into bead weaving. So I learned how to bead weave, and I did a very big journey on bead weaving. So I started making things like these, you know.
Oh,
and,
gorgeous. Oh, yes. I love those things. I love. So those are all yours you made?
Yeah, I made all these. Yeah. And I started collecting wheat and weeds and just lovely little Australian weeds and stuff like that. And I just put sticks together, and I started collecting eucalyptus like that, which we put in the shower.
Oh, I love it.
Steam comes from that, you know. And yeah, I just I became very eclectic, and I started collecting all sorts of things, and I became very gypsy. And then I started getting into apothecary because about 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So there's all my herbs and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness, look at that cabinet full of all those wonderful herbs. And I already know this part, but I really want her to share because I think this is really important. And of course, I'm sorry to mean to interrupt, but what I want to get across is that, yes, we have these amazing bead journeys. Yes, we have these amazing stories, but we're only going to go as far as our body's going to let us.
Yeah, that's
right. She has shared with us about natural natural remedies and natural helps and vitamins, and it's just, please go on, Bernie, share. I think it's important. I do.
So anyway, so 10 years ago I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and just the other day I was diagnosed with rheumatoid. Well, I'm not diagnosed yet, but
that's where
the doctor thinks I'm
going.
Rheumatoid arthritis. But I also suffer from, you might have heard me clear my throat occasionally, I also suffer from Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disease. So Hashimoto's and fibromyalgia fight each other. It's very difficult. And so
lots to deal with.
It's awful. It's debilitating. So I've had quite a journey with that. Some days I just cannot get up. And I'll go into a fibro flare, you know, and then for a week I'm just debilitated. I can't do anything. And I thought I was taking all these drugs, you know, and I thought, oh, it's got to get better than this. Like, these drugs are just Band-Aids, but I'm ingesting poison day after day after day. And I thought, oh, there's got to be something better than this. And I was always, trying to lead. Sorry, I'm just, my thyroid.
Don't you worry. That is just normal. This is just us chatting. Don't you worry about that. It's just us being us. We're fine.
So I decided to look into alternate medicine because it was just something that always resonated with me anyway. I've always been a nature child. I've always been an outdoors girl. I've been a wanderluster.
Yes.
Wild. I've lived in the desert. You know, I've spent time in all these vast places in Australia where I've lived off the land, and I've just really, you know, had survived and enjoyed every moment of it. Like, I've loved every moment of my journey, and I've seen so much. It's just incredible. But so I thought, you know what, I really got to do something about this. So I started looking into apothecary and herbal medication and stuff like that, and I became obsessed. I thought, oh, just, this is unreal. So I started collecting the herbs that related to me and my conditions.
Yeah.
And I started looking at the alternate foods, organic foods and stuff that I could eat and grow. So I'm growing all of that in the back there now. It sort of ties in with my life, because a few years ago, like, I'd been traveling since about 2017. I traveled consistently. I just traveled. I bought this massive motorhome that I live in at the moment, and I traveled, you know, all over the place, down to Tasmania, across to Western Australia. I travelled, you know, the Red
Benny and Bonnie.
Bernie, Bonnie and Benny.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Benny. I love it.
B3, they call us B3.
That's brilliant. Oh, cute.
Yeah, so we travelled incessantly. We travelled a lot, and then my aches and pains got the better of me, so I lobbed in at Jules down. We lived on the Gold Coast. I lobbed in at Jules, and I stayed there, and I got onto my health and got that better. And in the meantime, I started getting right into the enameling, everything like that, the metalwork, the bead weaving, everything like that. And then we came over to the island. Got this block of land here on the island, and we came over here, and we are glamping, if you like. We're camping because we're not building yet, but we will be hopefully building.
That's the alarm sounding. Something's happening in the camp. They're all excited.
Always barking at the, you know, at a tree dropping. Sorry, not a tree. At a leaf dropping or something like that. Yeah, so we came to the island, and my travels became sort of, that was it. So I'm here helping Jill because she wasn't on her own on the Gold Coast, but she broke up with her man because there was you know, there was issues anyway. So she couldn't come here on her own, and so I said, all right, I'm coming along.
No.
And so here I am. So I'm helping Jill, and she's helping me. There are days when I can't do anything, so Jill helps me, and then we work and we toil the soil. You know, we work the soil. We're doing some really hard work here, and that's debilitating for both of us. So in the meantime, because all of our stuff is packed away, I can't do my enameling. It's packed away at the moment.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so but I've got my bead weaving stuff out. So I've been doing the bead weaving occasionally, but I've been getting right into the apothecary. So, and then I started looking at, you know, the herbs that benefit me, and I started drinking tea, and I started using it in food, and I started growing my own food, and I started to benefit from that majorly. I started to,
Yes.
I had some problems. I had gallstones, and I've managed to dissolve all my gallstones. So my gallbladder is clear.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Crazy.
And
But
all this information is out there. When you first started with your herbal journey, where were you getting for your information? Books, online, people who have knowledge?
Yeah, I bought some books. I went online a lot. I studied a lot, which was not me because I hate studying. And I just became so obsessed with the fact that I was feeling better. And I was feeling my mental health was incredible. It was starting to get, I started to have clarity. I started using tools. I started mindfulness. I started using binaural beats, as you know.
Yes, but if you are not familiar with the binaural beats, I just want to say they are amazing.
Yeah,
Go Google, do your research, see about it. And it is just, especially for someone like me who, I'm just this nervous little thing that gets all anxiety ridden. All I have to do is put on my beats and chills my body right out. I mean,
yeah,
so you are implementing all of these things that are helping not only your body and mind, but you're seeing it in your spirit. You really are. It is just manifesting itself outwards.
yeah. I'm just
So
manifesting
impressed.
and pain-free living. So I've been really involved a lot with the herbs and tea, like making tea, growing my own herbs. It's all right here in front of me. I'm growing it all here. And I have friends who have sent me seeds and stuff like that, like Priscilla down in Victoria, and other people. So it's been quite a journey. But then I got onto I've always been a bit of a witch. I've always followed witchcraft and paganism. I've always followed a pagan lifestyle throughout my whole life. I've always been a bit out there, and people have always, she's different. I never conformed to my family's ideals of what I should be.
Thank you. I'm so grateful you did it.
I always did my own thing, much to disgust, I suppose, of their disgust and everything like that. But you know what? I don't regret a moment of my life. I've lived a great life.
And that's it right there. That's the key right there, folks.
Yeah.
Oh,
I deal with my pain.
They're shooting hearts up for us, and me too. I'm right there. I'm shooting the hearts up too, because it is so powerful. It is so beautiful. And I'm so grateful that one more person wasn't pushed down into oppression and stopped from blooming into the gorgeous being that they are intended to be. And I got chills. I'm just so happy about that, Bernie. Because I would have never met you. You would have been domesticated.
I've been part of this patriarchal society where I was governed by, what should be and not what I want to be. I really wanted to be my own person. I didn't want to be who they wanted to mold me into. I didn't want to be an accountant, and I didn't want to have 10 kids and be married and whatever it would have been. Exactly. I didn't want myself. I was really restless. I've always been restless, and really it comes down to what my parents did for me anyway when I was a child, because when I was small, I'm Hungarian Romani, so I have Gypsy bloodline. I'm Romani, so I can't Gypsy. Technically, it's not inappropriate for me to use it, right? So, when I was a young child, I was traveling between Hungary and Australia, almost 6 months of the year. I was learning to be a Gypsy in Hungary.
Exactly. They were planting the wanderlust right in your little heart, and they didn't even know it.
Exactly. So it's their fault, okay? So it's their fault for giving me that wanderlusting spirit that I've always had. And they need to
take the credit. They can take the credit for that. I know.
It's so funny. And then I decided I wanted to be that person. They're like, oh, you can't do that. My dad was always, my beautiful father, you know, and my beloved father who passed away in 2019, he always supported me. And, oh, gosh, he was beautiful. He was a very quiet man, whereas my mother was stoic and, you know, and she
So
was...
was she the Hungarian and he was the Romani?
Yes, my mum is from Budapest. She's from the Buda side of Budapest. So she grew up, they grew up in a wartime revolution time in their lives. The same with my father. My father comes from Transylvania. So he's from the Transylvania, Hungary, Romania.
Exciting.
And so, yeah, so that's
lots of history in that blood of yours. Well, no wonder. Oh, wow. Go on. It's just beautiful.
So there was a revolution in Hungary, and my mother in Budapest and her family was stuck right in the middle of it. So they decided there was, you know, the underground people that were helping them get out of the country and stuff like that. So they got my family, my mother's family, down to what then was the Yugoslavian border. And it wasn't all the separate countries that it is now, Croatia, Slovenia, all of that. It was just Yugoslavia. So they got them down to Yugoslavia. And when back in those days, there was a mile of land between European countries called no man's land. There was a huge fence on the Hungarian side, and then a mile over there was a huge fence on the Yugoslavian side or the Romanian side, the Russian side, Czechoslovakia, wherever. So there was no man's land, and what they used to do was they used to help the people sneak through no man's land into Yugoslavia. And my mum tells the story of them, you know, they're crawling underneath the snow, and these are little children, you know, with my mother's parents, and they're crawling through the snow and they're being shot at, and you know, and everything like that. So anyway, so they made it to Yugoslavia. They caught a big boat to Australia via Egypt, and she's got all these lovely photos of the pyramids and everything like that. And then they started their life as immigrants in Sydney. And my father, on the other hand, he was going to be drafted into the Nazi army, and so he needed to get away. He needed to get away. So he and we come from a small village in that area, and he came up to the other side of the country, away from you know, the communists and the Nazis and stuff like that. We came to the other side of the country, where we had more family near Austria. And they skipped out through there and they went to England. So my father lived in England for a little while to avoid being captured and made into a soldier, basically, you know, a soldier. Yeah, he didn't want to, he just wouldn't have a bar of it. So
Good on him.
They weren't too worried about the old women like my grandmother and, you know, my aunts and stuff like that. But the men in particular had a really rough time. So a lot of the men from Hungary decided, you know, they would skip Hungary, and so that was that. So here we are. So they met in Australia, got married, and here we are.
That is just an amazing story. They both came from Eastern Europe, and then both ended up in Australia together, and they met. That is quite a long way to go to bump into your neighbor, but it's amazing.
It is.
I mean, even for them, I just can't even imagine the struggle. I can, in my mind, I can visualize it, but I couldn't imagine the heart pounding, your throat, you feel like you're just going to, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine going through the snow and being shot at, and just being a little kid. So wow, that's why she was so tough and so wanted, you know, everything so that I guess you didn't have to struggle that way, but it's still, the Wanderlusting Gypsy was already planted in you when they took you back and forth.
They took us back and forth, you know. I travelled around when I turned 18. When I graduated from high school, they said, here's a plane ticket. Here's an open plane ticket for you to come back whenever you're ready. Benny, hush. so I decided to stay in Europe for, you know, two and a half years, I think. And I just went and saw everything, you know. I slept in bus shelters. I slept in park benches.
How old were you around this time?
I was 18, 19. And then...
for you back then when you could still do that.
Yeah, exactly. When you could...
That was like, for here, like in the United States, that was like the college person's, you know, rite of passage. It was something that, you know, everybody was doing, especially 60s and 70s, right?
Yes, you get...
Let's go trips around Ireland or something. And my stepdad did that, and he was sleeping in barns. Oh, there they are. They want some love.
There's Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Little red nose. You know, she's looking at all my feathers. And
sweet girl.
Give me that feather back. Oh,
my goodness. Tail going a mile a minute. She's happy about something.
She's always happy. She's a happy girl. She's always got a thing. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what you ask the questions. Off you go.
I know. It's so funny because this is the same when we had our chat, when we were doing the dry run to make sure everything was going to work. It wasn't in no time at all. I think an hour had passed, and then more time. And I felt so bad that I kept you on for so long, but it was so wonderful just to be with you and talk with you. It was like, you know, we had finally had a chance to sit down together.
It was easy. It just flowed. And then it was 2.5 hours. And 2.5 hours later, we were like, oh,
Bernie, no! With the way my mind is, I have no concept. It's like you just wind me up and put me in a direction and I'm gone, you know. But it was wonderful. We had a wonderful chat. I don't want to get too far away off topic. So let me ask you about the group. I am entirely loving you representing the artists there in Australia. How did that come about? Well, I know how the group came about, but, you know, deciding to do that and represent.
Yes. So, you know, over the last few years, there was, you know, our community, our components and jewelry community has expanded worldwide and become very big, almost oversaturated, if you like. And I was selling in various groups, particularly international groups. And, you know, various successes, as all of the sellers were doing. You know, everybody was having a great time. And, you know, we met some wonderful people. You know, we met you and we met lovely people throughout it all. And then COVID hit, you know, and COVID was a big, it kind of put a stop to a lot of things for Australians. Because
the world just went,
everything
holding pattern.
It's like the world stopped spinning, you know, and everything became a problem. We were put into some really harsh lockdowns, you know. It was terrible. We had terrible mail issues. We had food problems. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen all the pictures of women fighting for toilet paper in Australia. And
not only Australia, everywhere. I was like, give me my bidet before I fight over toilet paper. You know?
It was ridiculous, you know. So we, you know, they stopped us from posting overseas. They stopped us from getting stuff overseas.
Right. That's right. The restrictions for customs just became insane.
Yeah, it was really bad. You know, I lost some parcels to people and I couldn't explain where they were. It was really a horrid time, and I was just getting overwhelmed by it. You know, the problems that were arising. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So I stopped. I stopped selling overseas. I gave myself a rest. I went off on a road trip and thought, bugger this.
We'll fix this.
Well, I didn't go on a road trip when there was, you know, when I was in lockdown, obviously, but when things that we had various lockdowns at various times. We had snap lockdowns, right? So the news would come on and it'd say, right, there have been 50,000 outbreaks on the Gold Coast. You're in lockdown for the next 3 days. And we're like,
oh my goodness.
it was a wedding or something like that. So, I mean, even in that time, you know, where my daughter lives, it was horrible. I was in Queensland. I think Queensland had the most rigorous lockdowns out of all. Like, that's how I feel. New South Wales had opened up a little bit, and my daughter was getting married, and you know, they were lucky that their planned wedding was able to go ahead, but I wasn't able to go there. I wasn't able to attend the wedding, and so I was there on Zoom, you know, and sort of walking her down the aisle on Zoom and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. Yes. So it was really awful. Like, I missed out on so much. I missed out on my grandkids. I missed out on so much stuff. Anyway, so yeah, so I put a stop to everything. I put a stop to sending overseas. I thought, I can't guarantee that these parcels.
Exactly. You just can't afford that. And I've had a lot of packages get lost too, coming to me. Big time.
It was terrible. I had packages lost for people in America and in England, and you know, I've got people all over Europe that were buying from me, in Africa and stuff like that, and I couldn't account for it. You know, it was really bad. So I just thought, I can't. This is making me stress, and my mental health was really bad over it all. I was anxious every time I put the stamps on and go to the post. I was like, is this one going to get there? You know, oh.
Right.
So I left it. I stopped. I just thought, you know what? Stop. Just stop. And then, you know, certain lockdowns would ease up, and I'd nick off for a couple of days because I just needed that time out. You know, sit in nature with the dogs, or sit on a beach for 3 days and just
Found yourself out there, right?
Chill out and everything like that. And then, you know, I came back and, you know, back and forth, and lockdowns continued. And I was sort of, I was at Jules at the time on the Gold Coast, and, you know, we had some lovely beach time and stuff like that, because the beaches on the Gold Coast are just incredibly beautiful. Oh. So we started up again. I started doing some enameling. I started bead weaving. I started doing this. I started doing that. And then I started, David Stilwell is the guy that started the group originally, and can't remember what it was called. Something, whatever David Stilwell called it.
So you were inherited a group?
Yeah, we did. David Stilwell has a lot of groups out there, and he's a good guy, you know. But what he did was he handed over his Down Under group to the girls and stuff like that, and I came along just a little bit after that. And so David transferred all ownership to Jill and us, and we decided then to change the name because the group reflected an American ideal. So not that there's anything wrong with that,
but it needs to reflect the true authenticity of
Australia.
The creators and what you are. Absolutely. No, I think that was. And you want to start fresh when you're going in to bring your energy. You just kind of sweep out the cobwebs and you bring in new energy. That's beautiful. No, it's great. So tell us about the group.
Yeah, so we created a poll in the group, and then we all decided on the name Creative Artists Down Under, and we started promoting Aussie sellers, but not just jewelry. We promoted any handmade artist.
Any creations. I love it. I love when the representation goes across disciplines, because it's bringing, even though, you know, I may not know how to thread that needle, or I may not know how to burn that wood, whatever it is, it's still folks giving themselves to the discipline, and you can always relate to that. You can always relate to the heart and spirit of somebody putting that into their creation. And I love it. I'm so glad you did. You get introduced to a whole set of new folks.
Yeah, that's right. met some wonderful creators. You know, they were making some beautiful things, and we were just so happy about it. You know, so what we do is we just we promote that. I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to stick to my Aussie groups. There's a couple of groups that we have. I belong as a seller in two, adminning this one, of course, Creative Artists Down Under, and there's also another Aussie group called Australian Art Beads that I contribute to, and they both got different setup. You know, Australian Art Beads has one format and we have another format, so it works well for me.
Yeah.
And then so I just decided I have to concentrate on the Aussies. I really have to be an Aussie and promote, you know, without sort of affecting my relationship with all the lovely people that I've met around the world. You know, so I still go into
it hasn't.
Yeah, so I still go in and support all my other, you know, friends and family, not family, but family all around the world. And in the meantime, I'm, you know, helping our Aussie people. So, and, you know, we still sell worldwide if we want to.
Right.
Yeah, but
yeah. So if there's any Aussies out there, it's a Creative Artist Down Under, correct?
Yep, Creative Artists Down Under. And so,
there is a community. Go join, be a part of that beautiful, beautiful energy. I love it. I love visiting.
Yeah, so we can't accept overseas sellers.
Right.
To encourage them to come and have a look and see what, you know, our sellers are selling and stuff like that. So it's a nice little group. We are an inclusive group, so all the sellers have a word in what happens in the group. And so if we wanted to change, say, a format or a rule, we go to the sellers and we say, all right, all the sellers, this is what we're thinking of doing. Let's have a poll or give us your ideas. And
how wonderful. So you allow them to just be able to have that creative say in the direction of the group.
Yeah,
that is beautiful.
Yeah, they have ownership of the group, you know, and they're responsible for making decisions and stuff like that, and also responsible in terms of making the rules. They're responsible for adhering to the rules that they made as well and stuff like that. So, you know, we all decided to, you know, we all had a vote on the start time and the finish time. So instead of starting at, you know, at sparrow's fart in the morning, you know,
right? Exactly. I'm going to use that.
So instead of starting at that time, you know, we start at midday so we can cruise into the day, get out,
get up, have something to drink, and say hello to the morning. I know that have your items up or down by 6 a.m. makes me nuts.
You know, when I was in some of the international groups selling, I was up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning trying to be vibrant and say, oh, here I am, I'm from Australia, blah blah blah.
Here's me, copy paste, back to bed.
And I'd have to have all my stuff taken down by 2 a.m. and stuff like that, and it was just
we have a little delay going on. Don't worry, it'll pick up. There you go. Yeah. We're back.
Yeah, so it was a bit difficult, which is not the reason why I stopped selling in international groups. It was just purely that I thought, you know, COVID had an effect on us. I really sort of stopped. I had time to stop and think about things and what do I really want to do? You know, I just really want to support the Aussies, and I want to be available as an Aussie to create as an Aussie and give it that, you know, give it that flavour, that certain thing that we have down under. Yeah, so that's how it all sort of started in the group, and it was really good. It still works well to this day. You know, we get various artists doing their thing, and they look
gorgeous. That is like the only thing is, especially not just Australia, but you know, other countries, when you're going to get items from there, that's the thing that is just nerve-wracking. Is it going to make it? Isn't going to make it? And I feel terrible when that happens and it doesn't make it, and the poor artist is out, you're out, and you just want to make everything better and you can't. And when you have gorgeous, wonderful, reasonable people, it works out.
Yeah.
It works out. I had somebody who was driving to go to the post office to deliver my stuff. It's already been paid for, already been picked up, back to ship. The COVID people stopped her because they were doing checks, took her package from her and didn't return it. And that poor baby was out hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And it just broke my heart. I just was like, I didn't know what to do. But of course she said, don't worry about it. It's happening not just with me, but with everybody. And I said, you're right. And so I just wanted to give myself that time to be able to, I didn't want to lock into the energy of it, but I wanted to put my positive energy towards it so that I'm not ruining my mental health.
Exactly.
So if I just, and I understand these things are happening, and at the end of the day, I'm just like, well, I hope they're getting to eat. I hope they're sleeping comfortably. And that's, what it boils down to.
Yeah, there was a lot of hardship during COVID.
Oh,
there was a lot of
yes.
Losing businesses, losing their homes and stuff like that. Australians started rising up and protesting. Half the problem was I couldn't get into the post office because there was protests around it, and stuff like that, and protesting this and protesting that. And then the freedom movement started, that give us our freedom back movement, and anti-vax movement, and oh my goodness, it was crazy. It was all going nuts.
They were overcorrecting, weren't they? They were just like going a little bit over the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that it feels like we're starting to get ourselves a little evened out. And I'm not just talking about the supply chain. I'm talking about the trauma we all went through, not just us, everybody went through during this time.
Oh, it really affected some people. It wasn't that effective on me, apart from the fact that I couldn't see my babies, and I couldn't freely move around. I couldn't freely go to the beach, which was very hard for me because I love the beach.
Yeah.
So
that's you. When I think of you, I think of those beautiful photos of you with a gorgeous sunset behind and the puppies in the water, and I can't imagine you without the beach.
No, I really love the beach. It's my happy place,
Yeah.
as well as when I meditate. I make a pentagram on the ground with the sticks, and I sit in there and I meditate on the ground. I'm earthing, I'm grounding.
Yes.
Doing all that.
Yes.
These are the things that I need to do for my own well-being and for my soul. And so being at the beach, especially like on full moon, I take my candles down. Well, I used to take my candles down and do my little rituals, and that would put me in a good place, and
right mood, right.
Around in the water and playing and carrying on, and it was just one of those things where we couldn't go to the beach, and like we used to sneak to the beach, just because.
That's right. Keep me from the beach, right?
Mm-hmm. And so, we had these restrictions, and they were like, oh, you can, the restrictions were contradictory. So, oh, you can exercise, but you can't stop and stretch, and there's this ridiculousness. It was so stupid. It was such a contradiction that we became the joke of the world, and even just our strict lockdown situations became the joke of the world. And I'm grateful in one extent, because boy, did they keep us safe. We had, thankfully, we had minimal death, which was really, really good. But in the other circumstances, we lost freedom. We couldn't do what we had to do. Our mental health was declining. People were
so much.
Businesses went down. It was awful reading what was happening, and to this day, many people haven't recovered. It just,
especially the businesses that closed. It just always, you can go Google and you can see the list of all the restaurants that closed, all the people that provided food.
Yep.
And I was thinking, my goodness, out here I'm a little sheltered, because we already live like we're locked in. We already have, you know, the years worth of food or whatever, because I'm so isolated, we have to.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't too different for me, except I was used to seeing my kids like every 6 months, and I didn't see them for over a year. I'm like, oh, my heart.
Yeah, I didn't see my babies, and it broke my heart, you know. It was awful. I couldn't attend my daughter's wedding. That was awful. You know, couldn't cancel.
My daughter did get married too, but it was virtual. It was everybody, nobody could be there. It was just those two, and then the justice of the peace, and that's it. Everybody was watching via Zoom.
Yep.
Oh,
awful. It was good. It was good. But it was awful.
Yeah, you know, it was good. It was wonderful because we could have what we could have at the time. But that, you know, it didn't last, and we, you know, you just imagine things differently. But that's neither here nor there.
Ooh.
So you got through COVID, and so you beginning to focus on your herbal. I guess I don't even know. Do you have tinctures? I know you, the pine needles, you were telling me that you freeze dry them and then crush them. And it's just, my mind's just like, well, yes, how wonderful.
Yeah, so I basically, I bought a lot of herbs, because some herbs I can't grow here because the soil is so arid.
Right.
Yeah, so basically what I do is I bought a lot of herbs, and I've looked into the bush food. So bush food Australia. So that's a lot of stuff here in Australia ourselves.
Right.
That we, so for instance, that's a tincture that I'm making at the moment, right?
Okay.
And that tincture, we have something here which you and I spoke about the other day, which was green ants and red ants.
Yes.
And how they sting you. So we have this this plant here called can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, repellent plant.
We have a bracken fern. Sorry, bracken fern.
Yeah.
There you go. We have a bracken fern here, and the bracken fern, when the new little fronds come out, which I can show you as well. We'll go for a little walk.
Yes.
When the fronds come out, Cookies aren't here at the moment. Oh my God. Yeah.
Ooh, that. We can see the sun rays coming down.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Cookie's just turned up. He's just noticed that I'm here, so he's just turned up.
That's
so
the
bracken fern grows here wild. Here we go. It's just a fern like that.
Oh, yes.
And it's
lovely fern.
It's stealth. It's very stealth. It's a tough fern, and so you get these new little fronds here. Can you see the fronds?
Go down a little, or maybe you can. I can't, but that's because I'm a little bit farther away from the phone.
Okay, where is it? There it is.
Yes. Oh, those are yes, before they even uncurl.
Yes. So we go around and pick all those, and we pickle them in vodka. And then after 3 months, we strain it, and we put it into a spray bottle. And that, when you get bitten by that's Cookie's waiting for his food.
Oh, okay. So you mean like isopropyl alcohol?
Yeah. We use vodka. Because,
vodka. You said vodka, but we could probably use an isopropyl one. Okay.
Yeah,
that.
You can use that. You can use apple cider vinegar as well. Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so
it's a really expensive.
That was hot. So that particular stuff, when you strain that and you pop it into a spray bottle, and you get bitten, which happens a lot here, especially to the dog, we get bitten by the green ants, and they're a terrible sting, and it hurts. I'm telling you, it's painful. And so that tincture, you spray it on, and it nullifies that sting. It goes away. It kills the sting. Mm-hmm.
So it numbs your skin out?
Yeah, so it doesn't numb the skin, but it numbs the pain. It numbs the sting that they gave you, the poison that they've injected.
Yes.
It's not venomous poison, but it nullifies that the sting. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No,
So
no, no, absolutely. Because that's just like here, the red ants, the carpet ants. We have horrid black ants that have the most horrid little chompers. And when they bite, you know it. This tiny little thing makes you come to your knees. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we
get yourself
pain.
a drink, Bernie. I'm worried about you.
Oh,
I
yeah,
haven't
no,
seen you take a drink yet.
I've got my drink here.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know because it's the hottest part of the day there.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind. This is my life. It's all good. This is how we live.
You sweet creature. I just love you so much. So let me get you back to your bead journey.
Mm-hmm.
So that we talked about your past, how you begin. We talked about really the present, which is how you got to be where you are currently, which is laying off the enamel a little and giving yourself your soul time to just relax and rejuvenate and heal. And then
all the
go on.
all the equipment is stored away at the moment. We have some tents down there because we're building, so all of our equipment is stored in the tents, and we're just in the process of converting ourselves into caravans.
Yes,
there's one.
yes, and you guys can see all that if you go to her page.
Yes.
Oh, it's so okay.
Jill's tent down there. She's underneath that there, and this is me. I'm in my motorhome. This is my home here. I'm in my motorhome here, and that's the kitchen down there. Oh, there.
Perfect.
That's the kitchen. That's the camp kitchen, and so we're basically glamping, on the property and getting things ready. Like we're planting lots and lots of things, and we're growing, and we're slowly moving the things around in order to start building one day and stuff like that. So yeah. So everything's
how does that work? Do you guys own that little plot of land?
Yeah, we do. The dogs are going to go off because there's somebody driving past on a motorcycle.
Yeah, believe me, that kind of company and alarm, I wouldn't mind.
It's not
just
very
so out here, it's hard. I can't imagine having. I just can't. I don't know. I can't have any animals. But I step outside, and they're everywhere. So it's not like I'm deprived. I just have to choose where I'm putting my energy, and right now I need to, like you, I'm doing what we're doing now, Bead Talk, just because I needed to do something for my soul. Yeah. I needed to do something, that made me feel good and allowed me to be able to have some just to social time,
Yep.
And all of us gorgeous folks here in our groups daily, but we don't really know them. You know what I mean? We see, but having these little chats to me is so invaluable. It fills my soul up so much. So grateful for you. And anybody who does agree to come on, I don't bite, but it is wonderful, and I'm just so grateful to you.
Oh, you.
So do you have plans for the future to bring out the enameling?
Yes. So at the moment we're in the process of moving stuff. So I'm going to oh god, this is going to be hard. I'm going to sell my motorhome.
No.
I'm going to sell.
Oh, really?
And it's a very big motorhome, and my conditions will make it impossible for me to drive. Like, it's a big bus, it's a big
bus.
Yeah, and that it's going to be hard for me to drive that. So I'm going to downgrade to like a camper, what we call a whiz banger, where you've got your little side door that goes whiz.
Oh, so, yeah, like a mini. We call it like the minivan or something.
Yeah, little little minivan. So I'm gonna downgrade to one of those because I don't need anything this big anymore. I'm not going to be traveling intensely like I used to and have to live in the bus, you know. So I'm just going to be
literally, it's a house you're driving around.
Yeah, well, this is literally. So this is my forever home here now on the island, and so I'm just going to go off and come back. So now I have a base, and I'll be staying here. So in the meantime, what we're going to do is we'll take everything down. We're doing Jill's first. We're taking Jill's down, moving everything into a new area, and then I'll put her caravan, which is that's my caravan, the blue one. I don't know if you can see it. There,
yep,
that one there.
Yep, I see it.
Yeah, Jill's caravan's just on the other side of that. So I'll move her caravan. Jill doesn't drive, so I'll move her caravan into place, and then we'll put the annex on and the car and the patio. So we'll get all that sorted, and then we'll disassemble all of my area. I'll move the bus out. I'll bring my caravan up and put the annex on and my patio, and then that's how it's going to be for quite a few years, you know. So we're going to build around that. Yeah, so we'll build around that. So once that's done, once we have our caravans in place, we will have our studios back basically, which will be in the annexes, and then we can get all our stuff out and set ourselves up, and we can just bazinga, get back into it. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Just have a good time with being able to create.
Yes. So in the meantime, to alleviate that need to create. Bonnie, come baby, come. It's just a great big goanna. Go away, don't go near the goanna. They're huge. No.
If you go to her page, there's all the adventures of Bonnie and Benny on there. It's really fun.
Yeah, there's a great big goanna out there. They're really, really big. It's bigger than Bonnie, and their claws, like
wow,
is the length of my finger. So we can't have her out there agitating the goanna. It'll just
scare too.
Mm-hmm. They're very peaceful. They'll just climb up a tree and disappear. But you know, you don't want to agitate them. It's like the snakes here. You don't want to agitate them because you know you just don't want to agitate them. You just let them go on their way.
Let them be.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hurry along.
Yeah. So anyway, in the meantime, because I can't do that kind of creativity, I've really gotten into the local resources, and I've gotten into the apothecary. I've gone out and learnt about bush food, and we have a vast area of conservation wilderness here, and so I've been able to find lots of bush food like milk thistle and plantain and oh my goodness, yeah, all this lovely stuff that we can use. Milk thistle is especially good for me, so I harvest all of that, and I get the seeds from it, and I just sprinkle them all over the bush so it grows everywhere. And I go out and harvest all of that, and I dry it all up, and I put it in my teas because it's very good. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's very good for me with my pain. And the other thing I do, apart from the herbal teas and the tinctures and the creams and the whatnots that I'm making, is I use the natural resources, the things that are on the ground, such all the feathers from the lovely birds we have here, the pine needles, the Australian pine. You know, I'm using the ghost gum. They're called ghost gums, and we have what you call scribbly gum here, which are beautiful white gum trees. And I use their wood, and I do all that crafty stuff that I've been doing.
Yeah.
You know, making all these natural, all these little. What do you call them? Little wall hangings and stuff like that out of just the natural stuff.
Little totem thing, right?
Yeah, I'm just keeping myself occupied with those because I can't do my enameling and my metal work and etching and everything that I do. So yeah,
right.
so
do you plan on do you have any plans, or have you thought of creating those and putting them out there for people to also use? Are you going to have any plans on producing for other people your beautiful herbal remedies?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm perfecting it all, and I have to become accredited, which isn't a big deal. I just got to do an online course, and then I'll be accredited and I'll be legally allowed to sell the herbal medicine, the medicinal herbal teas and stuff like that.
Yeah, so many people are so helped and so grateful for that.
Yeah, I am. I'm really happy about that. So I'm perfecting it myself. So I just got to make sure that, you know, if I'm going to sell you something that says it's going to do this, I really want it to do that for you. You know, I don't want you to come back and go,
And so you get to be the guinea pig of all these beautiful, earthy, lovely.
Yes, I've been on.
Yeah, I love the medicinal remedies. I love especially using, for me, I can tell you, teas have been amazing for me.
Yeah.
And I just, even when I was a little girl, was when, you know, I got my period when I was only 11. And so my grandma was more closer to using the natural remedies. And even just introducing me to chamomile tea, I don't know, chamomile. And it was a game changer, because here I'm this little girl having cramps, and I'm thinking I'm going to die.
Yep.
And
chamomile,
that tiny herb helped.
Yep. Chamomile is a great herb. I drink it every day, every single day. I drink it like every night, basically. I drink it at night time.
Me too.
And I'll infuse that chamomile with the various herbs that I need in order for my body to rejuvenate and heal overnight, sort of thing. You know, like I'll use mullein, and I'll use devil's claw, and I'll use lemon balm, and just all this other stuff, you know. So
you have devil's claw there? We have devil's claw here. Really, it's used for an herbal remedy?
Very, very good. Yep. I've made.
Let me really go. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I got to tell you this funny thing. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, the devil's claw is kind of like, I think in the squash family, but it's literally shaped like a hoof, or like a two-pronged. So down here would be the part that is the squash, and then it has these long, nasty little hooks that hook onto the animal's feet, and that's how it gets its seed spread. Well, out here, I'd never seen one, and I loved it so much, so we collected the seeds and put them in our ice machine in our fridge. Well, because we didn't use it. So we decided to clean it out and use it. Martin finally figured out how, you know, we got it all settled up. So I go in to push to get water or ice. I got devil claw seeds. If you've never seen a devil claw seed, you need to look these up. They look like little alien babies. They are scary looking. And I had no idea what it was at first. And Martin was like, oh, that's the devil's claw seed. Continue. I was just interjecting because it was so funny. I was actually drinking one, like in my mouth, about to swallow it. I was like, what is this? And it looks like some little alien. I'm like, Martin!
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
do you crush the seeds?
No, we dry. We chop it up. I haven't actually done it myself here because I don't have it, but my friend Priscilla in Victoria is growing it, and she has sent me some. So she dries it out, and she cuts it up and dries it all out, and then she has sent some up for me, and I will get some seeds. And once I've toiled the land and I've made the land nutrient
prepared for that.
Yeah, because the land here is barren. It's like desert land. I don't know. I mean, look at that. Like
no minerals, nothing.
There's nothing in that soil. It's barren. But we do have a very good layer of a top layer of soil, about 1 or 2 inches of topsoil, which has come about from all the foliage that has rotted on the ground and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I use that. I put that into the bottom of the garden beds, and I use that, just integrating that in our composter with all our stuff that we from the kitchen that we put into the composter and stuff like that. So I'm starting to the herb garden is growing well. That's I'm actually surprised at how well the herb garden's going.
Really?
And of course, the veggie patch out the back has given us some lovely surprises this year. So that's been really, really nice. Yeah, so going back, yeah, so the chamomile tea is just the be all and end all of everything. So I use that as a base for all of my relaxant teas and anti-stress teas and, you know, things like that. They've all got such wonderful qualities, and it's just the different mixes that'll help you with whatever ailment you have got. So I do a lot of mixes pertaining to myself, because yes, I am the guinea pig in this case before I start selling commercially. And so you know, I've got these problems. I'm just about to be diagnosed with another disease, which is not going to be fun. But so yeah, so I have to work it all out on myself, you know. And it's been an interesting journey, because I've had some very lucid moments where I'm just like, woo, and gone to bed and had weird dreams, and oh my goodness. But yeah, so
yeah, but part of the journey, the beautiful thing is that when I really think about you and think about this, what you're doing, is that your creative journey never ended. It never ends.
no,
It doesn't stop.
it doesn't stop. It just keeps going, you know. Now I've added another sort of little section of creativity to my life. I'm just going to be so busy. There's no time to be bored in my life. I've never said the word bored. I've never been bored in my life ever. I've never said that word. I've never sat there and said I'm bored, because I've always been tinkering. I've always tinkered. I've always had something that I've liked doing, and because I was such a rebel growing up, I was just doing whatever I wanted to do, and I couldn't be bored if you tried, you know.
There's
couldn't be bored if I.
too much goodness out there.
I would always find something to do, you know. If I was having apart from, so sometimes I'm rendered a little useless at times when I'm having one of my flares, because they are quite debilitating. But still, even then, I get up and I say, okay, it's just pain. It's not gonna kill you. It's just pain. Up you get, and I go take the dogs for a walk. And luckily, I've got the dogs, because they make me get up. You know, they make me participate in life every day. And so I'll go take them down. We've got a little natural pond just over yonder behind the fallen log there. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, Bonnie will go swimming, and we've got tracks through the bush that have been here for a couple of 100 years, you know, because this island's been settled for many, many years. It used to be the island that they grew fruit and veggies on for the city of Brisbane, you know, when back in the convict like that. So, you know, we've got lots of little tracks and things like that. And of course, I'm always looking for bush food now, because I'm, you know, right into that. And so, yeah, there's never a time in my life when I can say I'm bored. Never. Not ever. Never.
It just ever evolves into something where your energy can go and flow to that. And right now, it seems so fitting. It is the right time because of what you're experiencing with your body. It is time for you to just stop and put all your creativity right back into yourself. Yes. And it is working. It's you're feeling better. You're, like you said, you have more mental acuity, and just from me, everything you have right there, your herbal garden. Oh my goodness, I am really inspired. We do have a few herbs that we grow here, but probably not as many as I would love to have. But it's always so. I love plants. Yeah, I'm not really good with them. Martin takes care of them, but I love what he does and what he's growing. And it's just, even just having those things growing around you must be just healing. To me, it's, my mind just feels better.
Yeah, it is. It's very healing, you know, like particularly in our situation where we don't have a house, a traditional house as such, you know, we're just, we're still in the process of getting into that sort of part of our lives. And so we're camping, glamping, and, you know, living like this. And so we have particularly made areas like this area is my Zen area. You know, I've got plants all around me.
All around, yes.
I've got a bird over whoop, there it is.
Oh, you've got a palm tree. Is that a palm tree?
Oh yeah, it's in a pot though. It's in a pot. You can see it's in a pot.
I
Yeah, but we
have a palm in a pot too. I love it. They live forever.
yeah, and all the herbs are down here, just in front of this table that I've got all sorts of knickknacks on that I'm going to use in my craft, you know. And I've got all the feathers from all the birds around here. I don't know if you can see that. All the feathers. I'll bring it up here. I put feathers into a.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, wow. Look at the difference. Those are huge feathers.
Yeah, we've got some big birds here. So I've got feathers from the kookaburras, and at night time we have an animal here called the curlew. It's a bird, and they scream. Their calling is a scream, right? And they'll do it right under your window too, little buggers. And so I've befriended two sets. One is a solo bird called Connor Curlew, and so I've called my little zen, the area outside my little zen garden, the Curlew Cafe, because
I love it.
They're omnivores, so they'll eat fruit and veggies, and they'll also eat meat, so they'll eat both. And so Connor Curlew tends to actually come and visit me at the kitchen more so than here. And then we've got Ma and Pa Curlew, which they're Ma and Pa because at the beginning of the season they had 2 little babies, but those babies have since perished because we haven't seen them. And so Ma and Pa Curlew come up, and they come up, and it's always on dusk and when it gets dark, because they're a nocturnal bird. So they'll come out at the night time, and then they'll scream all night to each other all around the island, and you get used to it. But if you don't know what that bird is, and that bird screams under your window, you think that someone is being murdered outside your bedroom window. That's how intense the scream is.
I can't imagine what tourists, if they experience that. It's just cracking me up just thinking about it.
Oh, it's
now, those are those long-legged ones that walk around, and they look like almost a crane, but their neck is not as long. They're not as big. Go look at Bertie's page. I'm telling you, it's wonderful.
Yeah, so it started. They've started actually walking through my little camp here at night time. If I haven't fed them, Connor Curlew will come in and he'll stop and look at me, and he'll be like, well, come on. And then they come out, and then he'll shake his little tail feathers, and then he'll go screaming out the front gate and wait at the area where I feed them. And it's almost like he's demanding to be fed. And these are wild animals, you know, like the way I feed the kookaburra.
I was just saying exactly that, Bertie. I was just like, wait a minute. She has wild animals that are coming and knocking on her door and saying, where's my food?
Where's my food? What are you doing, woman? Get up and give me my food.
That's exactly. I don't care how you feel. Let me have some food.
Yeah.
That's like my cat.
And then at night, the bandicoot will come around the back. I always cut up some carrots or vegetables or something for the bandicoots. They forage in the ground, and in the morning you'll just see lots of little potholes everywhere because they dig up little grubs and stuff like that. And so they come around at night time. You can hear them scurrying around in the back. They're very timid. It's a very timid animal. It's a cross between it's like a kangaroo and a hare, and like they've got longer back legs, so they sort of hop like a kangaroo, but they look more like a very long rat with a very long pointy nose, and the nose is what sniffs out the grubs in the ground, and so they dig them up and they pull the grubs out and stuff like that. So I'll leave mealworm out there for them, and meat and vegetables and stuff like that, because they're also omnivores. They'll eat both. And you can hear them scurrying around at night, and you know, occasionally you can hear the snake on the roof or something like that, and you just think, oh God, they're all visiting tonight.
Don't come in.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So much life around you.
Yeah.
That is so much life.
Yeah, there's a lot of wild. There's a lot of the huntsman that we spoke about, the big hairy
spider.
Yeah, the big hairy spider that just wants to be your friend spider, and that's true. They are quite. A lot of people have them as pets. The huntsman spider, which is they won't hurt you. They are just simply there to eat the bugs that bug you.
Thank you. Exactly. That's why I leave my spiders alone as much as I can, because I know whatever they're eating is what I don't want.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They are very good.
Yeah, they're eating all the bugs and the mosquitoes and all the other creepy crawlies we have here. So flies. And we have a march fly here. I think you might call them a horse fly. And we have a decent large sized dragonfly that'll hunt them down and eat them, So everything has a place here. Everything has a place and within the ecosystem here that they all work together with and do. So yeah, it's quite amazing actually when you sort of sit down and you think about who's eating who and what they're doing and how they're sort of keeping me safe in that respect. You know what I mean? I mean, even the snakes, have a problem with the kookaburras, and so that's another reason why I encourage the kookaburras, because the snakes will think twice about wanting to come back. We've had a few incidences with snakes now. A couple of pythons and a couple of eastern browns, which are highly venomous, one of the most venomous snakes in Australia. And so, the world actually, one of the most, I think it's number 3 in the world, so, or number 2, one or the other. Yeah, so it's good.
That isn't a reason to have the kookaburra around. I don't know what is.
Yeah, and we have quite a few kookaburras, but I befriended this couple and another solo kookaburra, and and they're starting to eat from my hand, which is nice. And it gets them to sort of hang around. And so if we do have something come along, like the kookaburra might deter that, and we don't have to freak out. Oh, there's a snake here again. So
yeah, I don't mess with what goes on outside amongst the animals. A lot of sometimes folks have a really hard time with it, and I said, maybe, but it's their world. It's their world out there. And, you just can't dictate it. You got to let nature take its course for the animals.
And we've encroached in their territory. We've come in and set ourselves up and encroached right in the middle of their life, So we have to make sure that we accommodate them as well. It's human nature. We have to live somewhere. Unfortunately, the wildlife just suffer because of that, but there's nothing wrong with encouraging them to hang around and still be able to utilize their home as freely as they can. Just let them be, just let them do their thing, so we don't bother them, and that's why we've done nothing to make them feel suspicious or wary of us, and so that's why I've got a good relationship with the kookaburra and the curlews, so
that's what I was just thinking right now. I said, but yet you have created your own harmony with them, because you too in essence are this wild creature to them, and you've been able to come and have a little symbiosis, and you feed them, and they potentially are keeping the land viewed for those things that you don't want, especially the brown.
The brown snakes. I just a couple of years ago I had one in my bus. I had it all over Facebook. It actually made the evening news one night. There was a brown snake in the bus. I didn't know. There was a mouse plague in Australia, and I was in a place where there was a lot of mice at the time. I was travelling. I can't remember where I was. Up in the Capricornia coast, I think, which is a bit north here, more tropical.
Right.
Anyways, I leant through into the front cabin of my bus to get something, and I saw something move, and I thought, damn it, there's a mouse in here. I'm going to have to get rid of it. I can't have a mouse in the bus because, it'll bring the snakes. Anyway, and then as I've turned around to go back and get the dogs and, get them out of the bus, I've seen the end of the tail of the snake, and I'm going, oh, my God, it's a snake.
No.
So the snake was already on its way from the cabin of the bus, which is there. It was on
Right.
its to the door of the bus, which is there, right? So I was in this section here already, and I had all my beading stuff in there, everything, all my beads, my gemstones, everything was there. And I thought, oh no. So I couldn't just get the dogs out, because if they come past the snake, not knowing what sort of snake it was, I thought either Bonnie's going to try and attack it, or
Right.
the snake, if it's venomous, is going to bite one of the dogs. And so I thought, all right, up on the back bed, guys. And I just did a lot of banging. So the snake went back to the front of the bus, which was great. Got the dogs out, and I shut the bus, and I thought, I've got to get the snake catcher out here to take it away. Anyway, in the meantime, I walked around to the front of the bus, and there it is in the window looking at me. And then I realised what it was, and I thought, oh my God, what a lucky escape. That's an Eastern brown. And I just, to say that I pooped my pants is an understatement.
That's how venomous they are.
Oh my God. They are, you can survive, but mostly it's a long, horrible death, especially for a dog. You know, I don't want to do that to my dogs. Anyway, so I just left it, and I thought, ring the snake catcher. Snake catcher comes out. We pulled the bus apart, like you wouldn't believe. My stuff was strewn all over the ground. Couldn't find this snake. Could not find it anywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. And then dusk was coming, night was coming. We couldn't find this blasted snake. And I'm like, and he's like, I can't find it. And he literally tore the bus apart. So he did a good job looking for this snake. So it's obviously, at the time, decided to slither back out wherever it came from, because there are a couple of sections under the bus where it could get through, you know, where the batteries are and where the water tank is and stuff like that. Anyway, so that night I couldn't sleep. There was no chance. Every little noise, I'm just like, what's that? What's that? What's that?
So did you ever see it at all?
Didn't see it again. Not in the bus. I saw brown snakes around on the property where I was, camped up, but I didn't see the snake again in the bus, no. And I went around the bottom of the bus, and I filled in with expanding foam some of the areas where they could slide in. But even here...
Yeah, you did.
Oh, my God.
We'll have none of this nonsense again.
Think of this bugger looking at me through the window going, nah, I'm in your bus, and I'm taking pictures of it going, well, I'm taking pictures of you, you slithery snake, you know.
Oh, that's too much. I can't get over that. I would not have slept. I probably would have not even, I don't know, especially even out here, you know, I think about, okay, when the rattlers come around, are they going to come around? They haven't been around right here, Martin. Like I was telling you, took the last one out, I guess, was about 15, 16 years ago. But it does not mean that they will not come back and make their way, because, you know, we've seen fox, well, the brown fox, which looks just like a coyote to me, just has a longer tail, and those, they come right on here, you know, they will help themselves to all the rabbits. We used to have a lot of rabbits, you know, and it just, I would not want to meet one in person. I would not want to be close up at all. No. Just let them go on their way.
Yeah, well, luckily we haven't, we have had some browns here, but luckily they've just been on their way. We just leave them alone. They're not aggressive, unless, of course, you poke them and prod them, and, you know, you
right. Yeah. I know, which I will not be doing. Thank you. But let me bring us back. I know for you and me and you could sit here for hours and just chat. Trust me, I know. And I'll be so happy to do it. But let's, for the sake of Bead Talk, we're still here, Bead Talk. I hope you are too. We go. So your new creative outlet is creating your new. I guess it would just be herbal remedies, we call it. Do you? And then you want to, in the future, plan on getting your enameling back out. Is that before or after you sell the camper?
It'll be after. It'll be after the camper is moved and the caravan is put into place. But that's going to be happening in the next month or so. So that's
that's fast. I didn't think it was that fast.
So that.
Oh, you're gonna sell that in a month.
That's the plan. Now we've just had a massive heat wave that has stopped us from doing anything for a couple of weeks because you just can't work in this heat. We cannot go out there. We would die from heat exhaustion, and as it is, I'm covered in heat rash, so it's not something that we can go and do. It's not something I can do with my conditions, and it's certainly not something that Jill can do with what she has. She's diabetic and she has to ensure that she doesn't overheat and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, yes. No, the heat strokes are a real thing.
Yeah, and because we're having this heat wave at the moment, it's really put a stop to what we're doing. We're just doing nothing. Basically, I'm crafting really with the wood and the feathers and the pine cones and everything. So in the meantime, so we plan on getting that done as quickly as possible because both of us have been so keen to get back into our work. It's been many months. It's been since July, August last year. So it's been a long time. And so we're very focused now on getting her caravan set up, getting that sorted down there, then getting back up to my area, get the bus out, put the caravan in. We've got friends from the mainland who said they'll come over and help us because it is quite a big job,
Yeah.
Not the bus out because I can just drive the bus out, but putting the caravan into the right place, all of that. So
all of that just takes a great deal of work, and no, not in the heat. There is no way. Nothing is going on in the heat. Yeah. And hopefully you will have some nice temperature drops there soon where it makes things a little bit more bearable.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to our autumn, which is supposed to be here already. We're really looking forward to that making an appearance. So bring it on.
Exactly. Well, here's to autumn. Bernie Ryman, I just love you. There, the dogs know they're all, it's time, Mama, I need you. I just want you to know what an absolute privilege. Don't worry, they're okay. I just want you to know what a privilege it's been to sit here and chat with you and to share it with everybody and let everybody know that, hey, this is our beautiful creators. This is what's going on. And it's almost like a little vacation for me, just getting to insert myself right into your world for just a little bit. I am
with you. It's been really, really nice. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful for you. Thank you, Bernie, so much. I'm going to let you go now. Go tend to your babies, get something nice, and get a towel of water. And that's me. I'd be like, squeezing the water towel all so I could just feel the nice relief.
We're going to head swim down at the local beach. So we're going to go off down there. And
you go. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye right now, but I want you to know that, Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me and listening to my story. And thank you. Mm-hmm. You're wonderful. Thank you.
Mwah. I'll talk to you soon, my darling.
Certainly will.
I'm trying to figure out how do you do this. Okay, there you go. And you'll have to give me a second. Let's see, remove, change. There we go. Okay, there we go. Whoops, cancel. It almost had me add some of you. Well, that is another episode of Bead Talk. It was wonderful getting to know Bernie and hearing about her Wanderlusting Gypsi creation story. Thank you for being here. Do not miss next week. We have our very own SachaNicole Moore is going to be here with us. So look forward to that. It's going to be a great time. Again, if there's anyone that you would like to see here on Bead Talk, do not hesitate to message me. We hope we see you tomorrow. I will be live, having a live show at my profile page at Facebook. And we just look forward to some more good times. Thank you for joining us. You guys take care, and we'll see you at the group. We'll see you in the thread. Good night, everybody. And here's me trying to figure it out.